Chosen one. Listen with your heart. You were not brought to these words by accident. This encounter was arranged long before this moment ever arrived. Heaven has intentionally crossed paths with your life today because God is opening the door to a brand new season, one that bears no resemblance to the hardships you have left behind, every burden you have carried, every unseen struggle you have survived, and every silent tear you have cried has served a purpose. None of it has been meaningless. It has all been shaping you for what is now unfolding. The promise spoken through Isaiah 43:19 is becoming your reality. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not see it, chosen one? That new work is no longer approaching. It has already been set into motion. You have arrived at the edge of a divine transition where God's provision, insight, and overflowing blessings are being released in ways no human effort could produce. What seemed postponed is finally arriving. What once appeared impossible is being opened before you. Your history was never designed to confine you. It was the ground where your future promise was planted. Let go of what is behind you and fix your eyes on what God is revealing ahead. This is far more than another message on your screen. This is a prophetic word being spoken over your life. The Lord is leading you toward the destiny He prepared long ago. And your first steps begin today. Chosen one. Can you sense that quiet stirring deep within you? The feeling rising inside your spirit is not fear or uncertainty. It is the unmistakable sign that heaven is bringing every part of your life into alignment. I recognize that feeling because I have lived through it myself. There was a night when everything I depended on seemed to disappear. My career came to an unexpected end. Someone I loved slowly drifted away. Even the constant ringing of my phone gave way to silence. Alone beneath the glow of a single light, I whispered, "Lord, if you still have a path for me, let me see it." The answer did not arrive with chaos or dramatic signs. It came with peace. It came with direction. There was no roaring thunder shaking the sky. Instead, it was like a faithful compass, quietly adjusting the course of my heart. One small step at a time, until I realized I was being led exactly where I needed to go. Chosen one. That same gentle guidance is at work in your life right now. Heaven has placed a hand on your shoulder and turned you toward a future you didn't even know you were allowed to imagine. You've been reading the signs. Closed doors that once would have shattered you now feel like protection. People exiting your life don't sting in the same way because somewhere deep down you know this isn't rejection. It's redirection. When I was in that in-between, too far from the old, not yet inside the new, I started noticing small, impossible kindnesses. A bill paid by mistake. A stranger's word that perfectly matched a prayer I never said out loud. An email that felt like a divine breadcrumb. That's how heaven works when a supernatural transfer is underway. The currency isn't only money. It's timing, access, clarity, and favor. And yes, resources start to move. Accounts that were dry begin to flow. Calls you were waiting on suddenly return. Not because you hustled harder, but because your steps caught the rhythm of God's calendar. The past has tried to keep its claim on you with the old names. Unqualified, too late, too broken, not enough. I wore those labels like heavy armor for years. But the moment I loosened my grip on how it should have been, I felt something lift. I didn't forget the pain. I forfeited its permission to lead me. That's what letting go really looks like. It is not denial. It's dethroning. You are removing yesterday from the driver's seat and inviting holy strategy to hold the wheel. I once heard a whisper in that tender place between tears and sleep. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. My eye is on you. It was so gentle and so firm that I wrote it down and dated it. You may recognize that promise. Since then, I have learned that guidance is not a map. It's a pulsar. You don't need the whole blueprint. You need the next, yes. So, let's make this practical. Tonight, take inventory not of where you failed, but of what no longer carries life. There are conversations you keep replaying that don't deserve another minute. There are habits that served survival but can't steward abundance. There are environments that clap for your potential while quietly feeding your doubt. Release them. Not dramatically, decisively. When I did this, I expected emptiness. Instead, I met presence, and presence brings direction. The next morning, I woke before dawn with a phrase ringing in me. Make room. I cleared a desk, deleted numbers that kept me circling old patterns, and wrote 3 intentions. 1. Honor God with what I have now. 2. Move in obedience at the speed of peace. 3. Expect provision to meet purpose. That week, doors opened. I didn't even knock on. Chosen one. Heaven is not waiting for you to be perfect. Heaven is waiting for you to be available. Availability is the gate for transfer. When you unhook your identity from what hurt you, your hands become free to carry what's meant for you. Feel that lightness. That's not wishful thinking. That's the weight of old agreements breaking. You are not behind. You are right on time. Walking into a corridor designed for your footsteps, and just ahead. Listen. There it is again. The soft click of a lock turning from the inside. Pause with me on this threshold. Breathe. Let the past step back. Chosen one. Let's step deeper. When heaven opens a door, it rarely looks the way you expect. Sometimes it doesn't come dressed in fireworks. It comes as a quiet opportunity. A conversation that feels ordinary. A sudden inner nudge that won't let you sleep. That's how it began for me. Years ago, after losing what I thought was everything, I sat in a coffee shop scribbling in a notebook. A stranger leaned over, glanced at my messy sketches, and said one sentence that changed everything. Don't kid. This is the blueprint. I didn't know it then, but that was my first glimpse of supernatural funding. It wasn't a check in my hand. It was confirmation that heaven was underwriting my steps. Chosen one. This is how your transfer begins. Not always in visible cash, but in undeniable alignment. You'll feel the shift when doors that stayed locked suddenly creak open, when people who never noticed you before now carry your name on their tongue, when ideas you left for dead start to breathe again. This isn't coincidence. It's divine choreography. Just like Joseph in prison interpreting dreams, your gifts are about to pull you out of confinement and into royal chambers. The past wasn't wasted. It was the soil for the seeds now sprouting. I know what it feels like to wrestle with doubt, to stare at bills or an empty inbox and think, where is the promise? Where is the provision? But the supernatural doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it tiptoes in disguised as a small yes. When I said yes to writing that night, instead of drowning in despair, I didn't realize I was agreeing to a chapter God had already signed. That one yes drew mentors, resources, and opened doors I couldn't manufacture. You too are standing before a similar door right now. And here's what I need you to remember. When God funds a life, He doesn't just cover the basics, He overflows. Not just enough for survival, but more than enough for expansion. You've been conditioned to expect scraps, to brace yourself for delay. But heaven is rewriting your expectations. A funded life means your vision will finally have the resources it requires. The dream you sketched, the idea you shelved, the plan you whispered. God has already allocated provision. It's waiting for you to step forward. This is the part where courage matters. The new door may not feel safe. It might require you to speak when you're used to silence, to apply when rejection trained you not to invest time or energy when the past told you it wasn't worth it. But remember, provision follows obedience. Each step you take signals to heaven. I trust you enough to walk through. And when you do, the transfer accelerates. Chosen one, I sense in my spirit that your first confirmation will arrive sooner than you think. A sudden credit, an unexpected opportunity, a message that affirms what you've been praying in secret. Don't dismiss it as luck. Call it what it is: divine funding. Once you recognize the source, you stop questioning and start receiving. So, pause with me here. Breathe in the reality that you are no longer unfunded, unsupported, unseen. You are backed by heaven. Chosen one, let me ask you something. Have you noticed how lately, even in the smallest things, there's been a strange ease? Like a weight quietly slipping off your shoulders. That's not random. That's evidence. When heaven begins a transfer, the signs show up before the balance changes. It starts in your atmosphere. For me, I first recognized it when the panic that usually rose in my chest at the end of each month didn't show up. Nothing about my bank account had changed yet, but my spirit was calm. I didn't know it then. But peace is the first deposit. Peace is heaven's down payment. It's God saying, I've already handled it. Rest and watch me work. If you've been sensing unusual peace in the middle of uncertainty, that's your clue. The transfer is active. Chosen one. Another sign is unexpected favor. It might look like someone waiving a fee, a stranger opening a door, or a friend offering help without you asking. It could even be opportunities aligning with no explanation. I remember once being invited into a meeting I had no business being in. No credentials, no title. Yet, there I was sitting at the table. Why? Because when God funds your journey, He also funds the introduction. The right people start appearing, not because of your resume, but because of your assignment. Pay attention to repetition. When certain numbers, words, or themes keep surfacing, whether in conversations, dreams, or even random scrolling, that's not coincidence. That's heaven highlighting your path. I kept seeing 77 everywhere. Clocks, receipts, page numbers. At first, I brushed it off until I realized it was a pattern. 7 is completion. God was whispering, that chapter is complete. The new one is ready. You may be seeing 777, Ba-Ba Ba-Shaba, or other prophetic numbers. Take note. They are timestamps from heaven, reminding you that your journey is on schedule. And here's a big one. Resistance intensifies right before the release. If you felt more distractions, more doubt, even strange pushback from people. It's not proof that you're off course. It's confirmation that you're close. Before every breakthrough in my life, there was a surge of noise, arguments that came out of nowhere, unexpected bills, emotional heaviness. But I learned this truth. Pressure is a sign that the gate is about to swing open. Don't let resistance fool you. Let it remind you that abundance is inches away. Chosen one. The transfer is not just financial. It's holistic. You'll notice your body feeling lighter, your thoughts clearer, your sleep deeper. That's the Spirit renewing you from the inside out. So you can steward what's coming. Wealth without wisdom destroys. But heaven equips you before it funds you. So, when you feel the sudden urge to clean your home, organize your life, or distance yourself from draining relationships, don't ignore it. That's preparation. God is making space in your environment for what's arriving. Now, hear this. When the signs start stacking, peace, favor, repetition, resistance, renewal. You must respond. Don't shrug them off as coincidence. Acknowledge them. Speak out loud. I receive this confirmation. I align with this transfer. Words are keys. The more you affirm, the faster heaven releases. Chosen one. You are not waiting on a miracle. You are walking in one. The signs are already here, scattered like breadcrumbs leading you forward. Chosen one. Receiving a blessing is one thing, but retaining it, carrying it well, that's where legacy begins. Heaven doesn't just pour into open hands, it pours into steady ones. Think about it. How many people have touched abundance only to lose it because they weren't prepared to hold it? That won't be your story. When my first major breakthrough came, I nearly sabotaged it. I was so used to scarcity that when provision finally landed, I spent recklessly out of excitement, out of fear it might disappear. Within months, I was back at the edge. But God used that moment to teach me, if you treat overflow like survival, you'll keep living like a survivor. That lesson became my turning point. From then on, I didn't just ask for blessings, I asked for the wisdom to keep them. Chosen one. Here's the truth. Retaining the transfer requires a shift in posture. You can no longer live with the mindset of just enough. God isn't sending provision to vanish. He's sending it to multiply. That means when resources arrive, whether financial, relational, or spiritual, you must steward them with intention. Write the vision down. Track what you've been given. Give thanks often. Gratitude is like spiritual glue. It seals blessings in place and keeps the flow open. Another way you retain is by aligning your environment. Blessings suffocate in chaos. If your space is cluttered, if your circle is filled with voices of doubt, the blessing will feel heavy instead of holy. I had to learn to release friendships that were tied to my old season. It wasn't rejection. It was refinement. Because you cannot carry new oil in old wineskins. When heaven funds you, it also filters you. Some people won't understand why you pull back. Let them misunderstand. Protect your peace. Your environment must match the abundance being released. Chosen one. Sustaining overflow also means establishing rhythms. Consistency is the quiet guardian of miracles. Set aside time each day to realign, whether in prayer, meditation, or stillness. When I made it a habit to pause in the morning and declare, Provision follows me. Opportunities began to cluster around my life. That rhythm anchored me. Don't underestimate small daily practices. They prepare you to carry large blessings. And let me be clear, retaining blessing does not mean hoarding. It means circulation with wisdom. Money, ideas, opportunities. They're like rivers, not reservoirs. When you hold with fear, the water stagnates. When you release with trust, the flow accelerates. The secret is balance. Give freely, but steward wisely. You're not called to spill. You're called to pour. Chosen one. Your ability to retain will determine your capacity to expand. The blessing is not coming for a moment. It's coming for a mission. If you treat this transfer as sacred, it will not only stay, it will grow. Others will look at your life and see not just a sudden rise, but a sustained one. They will marvel, not because you touched abundance once, but because you live in it daily. So, let's anchor this. Say it aloud right now. I am not just a receiver. I am a steward. I carry my blessing with wisdom and gratitude. This declaration is your agreement with heaven. Chosen one. Retaining the blessing is only the beginning. Expansion is the true evidence that heaven's hand is on your life. God doesn't pour into you just so you can say, I have enough. He pours so that your overflow touches others, so that your life becomes a river that nourishes everything in its path. I'll never forget the first time I shifted from asking, how can I survive this month, to asking, how can I sow into someone else's breakthrough? That single question changed everything. Opportunities multiplied. Not because I was chasing them, but because I had become trustworthy with what I already had. Expansion, you see, isn't about chasing more. It's about proving you can multiply what's already in your hands. Chosen one. Think of the story of the talents. The one who buried his gift lost it, but the ones who expanded theirs were given even more. That's the divine principle at work. Heaven increases what you steward with faith and action. For me, it looked like taking a small amount of money I could have spent on comfort and investing it in a skill, a connection, a seed into someone else's dream. That little step unlocked doors I didn't even knock on. Expansion requires you to see beyond the immediate need into the eternal impact. So, how do you expand practically? Start by asking, what have I already been given? Maybe it's finances. Maybe it's influence. Maybe it's time, wisdom, or creativity. Whatever it is, use it. Don't wait for perfect conditions. The seed is never meant to stay in the barn. It's meant to be planted. Expansion comes when you risk releasing what looks small to unlock what is great. Another key, collaboration. Expansion often happens through divine connections. Heaven sends people whose vision aligns with yours. Don't ignore them. The dream God gave you is too big to carry alone. When I finally humbled myself and partnered with others, I discovered that what felt heavy alone became light together. Expansion is never a solo assignment. It's a collective mission. Chosen one. You'll also notice that as you expand, opposition will try to whisper fear. What if you lose it? What if you fail? What if you're not ready? But listen, fear is the gatekeeper of growth. The moment you push past it, expansion begins. Every new level requires a new boldness. The old version of you was skilled at surviving. This new version of you must learn to scale. So, declare this with me. I expand with grace. I multiply with wisdom. I grow with courage. These words are not just affirmations, they are agreements. Each time you speak them, you activate expansion in unseen realms. Chosen one. Your blessing is not just for you. It is for your family, your community, your generation. Expansion ensures that what starts as your miracle becomes someone else's testimony. Chosen one. Expansion is powerful, but legacy is eternal. Legacy is what remains long after the applause fades, the contracts close, and the numbers in the account shift. Legacy is the fingerprint of your obedience, the ripple of your faith, the proof that you didn't just live for yourself. You lived to impact generations. I remember standing in front of an old house my grandparents once lived in. It was small, cracked walls, a roof patched a dozen times, yet that house was filled with prayers. They didn't leave me wealth, but they left me faith. And that faith became the soil where my abundance now grows. In that moment, I heard the Spirit whisper, "Your ceiling will be their floor." That's legacy. Chosen one. God doesn't just fund your journey so you can enjoy comfort. He funds it so you can build foundations for those who come after you. Legacy begins with intention. Take a moment and ask yourself, when my journey on earth is finished, what testimony will remain? Will people simply remember that you endured difficult seasons? Or will they say, you became the one who transformed the future of an entire family? You have been entrusted with the power to change what generations before you believed could never change. The cycles of scarcity, fear, and limitation stop with you. That is why what God is releasing into your life is far greater than financial increase. It is a divine calling. Chosen one. You have been appointed to reveal what life looks like when heaven becomes the true source of every provision. This blessing is not merely about receiving abundance, it is about carrying the responsibility that comes with it. God is raising you to become an example of what happens when faith, not fear, determines the future. Every lasting inheritance requires wisdom and structure. Even the greatest overflow can disappear without faithful stewardship. This is the place where discipline joins hands with purpose. Build foundations that will outlive you, whether through wise financial decisions, healthy family traditions, or daily spiritual habits that preserve God's blessings for generations yet to come. Lead those around you by example. Show them what it means to trust God's provision, to manage every resource with integrity, and to recognize His voice above every distraction. This is how one blessing becomes many. The inheritance you leave behind is not measured only in wealth. It is found in the faith you inspire, the peace you carry into every room, the compassion you extend, and the wisdom you freely give. These gifts continue shaping lives long after the moment has passed. There have been people who returned to me years later saying, "One conversation with you changed everything for me. It gave me the strength to keep moving forward." I had almost forgotten those moments. Yet that is the quiet power of legacy. It sows seeds whose harvest you may never personally witness, but they continue growing because God gives them life. Never forget this. Building a legacy demands the courage to choose a different path. There will always be voices questioning your decisions, wondering why you invest with wisdom, give with generosity, or refuse to accept the same limitations everyone else embraces. But those who are called to leave a legacy are not driven by public approval. They are guided by divine purpose. Chosen one. You were never created to disappear into the crowd. You were called to become living proof that when God provides for his chosen, he does far more than sustain them. He equips them to transform lives and leave an eternal impact. So, today, begin framing your legacy. Write down the principles you want your life to stand for. Speak openly about the goodness of God. Model generosity. Leave tracks of wisdom so that when others follow, they don't stumble in the dark. Chosen one. Abundance is a gift. Expansion is a responsibility. But legacy, that's the crown. That's the story that echoes after you're gone. Chosen one. When heaven places something precious in your hands, protection becomes just as important as expansion. The enemy doesn't fight empty vessels. He fights full ones. The very fact that you've begun to walk in abundance, in favor, in supernatural provision, is the reason distractions and attacks have tried to circle your life. But hear me. You are not defenseless. You are guarded, covered, and equipped to protect the legacy God is building through you. I learned this the hard way. The first time I stepped into a new level of blessing, I thought everyone around me would celebrate. Instead, some grew distant. Others whispered doubts. A few even tried to pull me back into old cycles. At first, I took it personally. But then I realized this wasn't about people. This was about patterns. The moment you break a generational cycle, resistance rises to test if you're serious about staying free. That's why protecting your blessing is not optional. It's essential. So, how do you protect what heaven gave you? First, protect your mind. Every battle begins in thought. Doubt, fear, comparison. They will knock at the door daily, but you choose what enters. For me, I had to stop rehearsing old failures in my head. Every time a thought whispered, "You'll lose it," like last time, I replaced it with, "I am chosen, and what God gives me, no one can take away." Your declarations are weapons. Speak them. Live them. Let them become the shield that guards your atmosphere. Second, protect your circle. Not everyone can handle your elevation. Some relationships thrive on your struggle. The moment you rise, they feel threatened. And that's okay. Release them with love. God is surrounding you with those who sharpen, not drain. Protect your space from voices that sow doubt, envy, or confusion. I once heard it said, if they don't celebrate you, they can't cover you. Choose wisely who you allow near your vision. Third, protect your rhythms. Blessings leak when you neglect the practices that kept you aligned. Daily gratitude, prayer, rest, stewardship. These aren't just routines. They're armor. When I drifted from these, I noticed my peace waver. But when I returned to them, clarity and protection wrapped around me like a fortress. Consistency is holy protection. And finally, protect your focus. Distractions will come dressed as opportunities. Not every open door is your door. Some detours are designed to drain your time, energy, and resources. Learn to ask, does this align with my assignment? If the answer is no, walk away boldly. Protecting your blessing sometimes means saying no more often than you say yes. Chosen one. Protection doesn't mean living in fear. It means living in wisdom. It means walking with awareness that what you carry is sacred. The same God who blessed you has also armed you. No weapon formed against you will prosper. Not financial attack. not relational sabotage, not inner doubt. You are shielded. Chosen one. Here we are. The culmination of everything heaven has been whispering, aligning, and preparing in your life. You've walked through release. You've stepped into expansion. You've claimed legacy. And you've secured protection. Now, this final piece is about sealing it, anchoring your new season so it cannot be shaken, stolen, or silenced. When a season shifts, the atmosphere around you begins to respond. Old cycles try to cling, not because they're stronger, but because they're familiar. That's why sealing is necessary. It's your spiritual declaration that the past no longer has permission to sit at the table of your future. I remember a night when I literally stood in my living room and said out loud, "This chapter is closed. From this moment forward, I walk in divine abundance." That night, something lifted. My environment didn't change instantly, but my spirit did. And when the spirit seals it, the natural follows. Chosen one. Sealing your new season begins with your words. Speak life daily. Declare alignment over your finances, health, relationships, and purpose. Don't wait for evidence. Create it with your confession. Heaven responds to faith-filled speech. The more you affirm, the more your atmosphere bends toward blessing. Next, sealing requires action. Don't just dream. Document. Write your vision. Set your intentions. Build systems that reflect where you're going, not where you've been. Legacy is not sealed by wishes. It is sealed by structure, even small steps. Saving a portion of income, scheduling intentional rest, creating space for prayer. These are bricks in the wall of your new season. Another layer of sealing is gratitude. Gratitude transforms blessings into permanence. Every morning, I started writing 3 things I was thankful for, even when life looked scarce. Within months, that habit rewired my focus. Instead of obsessing over what I lacked, I magnified what I carried, and what you magnify multiplies. Gratitude seals the flow of abundance because it proves to heaven that you're ready to hold more. Chosen one. Never forget the ultimate seal. Surrender. To surrender is not weakness. It is strength perfected. It's saying, "God, I release the urge to control outcomes. I trust your plan fully." The moment you surrender, you align with divine timing. Doors open without strain. Resources find you without chasing. Peace guards you without effort. Your surrender is heaven's green light. So, here is your prophetic declaration for this new season. I am God's chosen. The past is behind me. The new has come. I carry abundance. I protect it with wisdom. I expand it with faith. And I seal it with gratitude and surrender. No force can reverse what heaven has released. My life is a testimony. My legacy is secure. And my future is radiant with divine favor. Chosen one. You are no longer waiting for a shift. You are living in it. Move forward with unwavering courage. Love without holding back. Build with wisdom. And let your light shine without fear. May your life become a testimony that echoes through future generations, declaring that the God who called you is always faithful to provide, defend, and complete everything he has promised. Chosen one. This is your appointed season. Heaven has already begun moving on your behalf. And the breakthrough you have been anticipating is no longer somewhere ahead. It is unfolding right now. You are leaving behind the darkness of yesterday and stepping onto the path the Lord prepared specifically for you. Your past no longer defines your identity, and your future is overflowing with hope. You are walking according to heaven's perfect timing, surrounded by God's protection and led toward His abundant provision. I declare over your life today, may every barrier that once stood before you become an open entrance into new opportunities. May uncertainty give way to clear direction. May fear surrender to perfect peace. May every burden be replaced with lasting joy. Walk with confidence, knowing the very God who invited you into this calling is faithfully directing every step you take. What seemed delayed is now gaining momentum. What was damaged is being made whole. What you believed was gone forever is returning with greater abundance than before. Chosen one, stay faithful to His voice, remain in alignment with His purpose, and protect the anointing upon your life through gratitude and unwavering expectation. You are not moving through life without direction. You are being led by the hand of God. You are not carrying every burden through your own strength. His grace is carrying you forward. Heaven's supernatural work has already begun, and every act of obedience is opening doors to blessings beyond anything human eyes have witnessed or human minds have imagined. If this message has spoken directly to your spirit, respond with faith. Leave 777 inches, the comments, as a declaration that you are embracing this new season with confidence and expectation. Share this message so someone else can be encouraged by the same hope. And subscribe to continue walking alongside a community of chosen people pursuing God's purpose together. You are blessed. You are protected. You are chosen. Step confidently into the future God has prepared for you, knowing that heaven walks with you every step of the way. Chosen one, your presence here is no accident. You were not randomly guided to this message. Heaven arranged this encounter at the precise moment your soul was ready to receive it. There is a distinct mark upon your life, something no human explanation can fully describe. Others notice it the moment they encounter you. They see a light that refuses to be extinguished. They wonder how you continue to radiate peace, hope, and strength after everything you have endured. The enemy has tried to overwhelm you with anxiety, relentless pressure, and burdens that few people could ever understand. Yet here you are, not merely surviving, but shining. Your inner light has not been diminished, because God's anointing continues to sustain and renew you from deep within. Scripture reminds us in Proverbs 1:7-2, "A joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones." Chosen one, your joy is more than an emotion. It is a source of supernatural strength. Even now, the Lord is refreshing your spirit day after day. A divine restoration is being released over your life. Reaching far beyond your outward appearance, God is restoring every area that has been weakened by time, hardship, or loss. The years that seemed stolen are being redeemed. What the enemy attempted to take from you is being returned, according to heaven's promise. If this message is confirming what your spirit already senses, write 111 inches the comments as a declaration that you are embracing this season of divine alignment. Chosen one, one of the greatest reasons you continue to carry this remarkable vitality is because God has been teaching you how to stop carrying burdens that were never yours to bear. There is an important truth you must recognize today. Stress is far more than an emotional struggle. It is often a spiritual strategy designed to wear you down before your appointed time, to dull the light God placed within you, and to weaken the glory He intended your life to reflect. Listen carefully. The enemy understands that if he can fill your heart with fear, worry, and constant anxiety, he can slowly drain both your spiritual strength and your physical well-being. That is why God is calling you to release those burdens into His hands, allowing His peace to preserve both your spirit and your life. Stress floods your system with hormones that literally break down the very tissues that keep you vibrant. But you, chosen one, have been set apart. You have learned, often through the fire of painful experiences, that stress is an enemy you cannot afford to carry. I remember a season in my own life when I was holding on to so much, grudges that I replayed every night before I closed my eyes. Regrets that kept me awake, wondering what could have been. Fears about tomorrow that robbed me of today's peace. And I watched myself age in the mirror, not just in wrinkles, but in my eyes. The light was fading. The joy was draining. And one day the Spirit whispered to me, "Let it go. This weight was never yours to carry." Many people walk through life dragging invisible weights, bitterness that has hardened like stone in their chest, betrayals they replay like an unending soundtrack, resentment toward people who don't even think about them anymore. And over time, those burdens do not just affect their mood. They show up on their skin, in the tightness of their jaw, in the dullness of their eyes, in the heaviness of their step. But you are different. Chosen one, you have been trained in the wilderness. You have endured storms that would have destroyed the average person. And yet, here you are, still standing, still glowing, still radiant. Why? Because you have learned the secret of surrender. You release your worries, not by pretending everything is fine, but by handing them over to God with deep, unshakable trust that all things will work out in divine timing. This does not mean your life has been easy. Far from it. You have walked through valleys that had no visible exit. You have faced betrayals that cut deeper than any blade. You have survived seasons that should have left you broken and bitter. But the key difference, the reason you still look younger than your years, is in how you process pain. Instead of bottling up resentment and letting it ferment into poison, you let go. You move forward. You do not allow old wounds to infect your present joy. And when you forgive, when you surrender, something supernatural happens in your body. Your nervous system calms. Your sleep deepens. Your immune system strengthens. Because peace, chosen one, restores what stress destroys. There is a scripture that says, "Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you." 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7. And I have seen this truth play out in my own life, and in the lives of countless others who carry the anointing. The moment you release the burden, the moment you stop trying to control everything and trust the one who holds your future, your entire being begins to shift. Your face softens, your eyes brighten, your presence becomes light again. People look at you and wonder how you have been through so much and still radiate peace. They do not understand that your youthfulness is not just physical. It is spiritual. It is the visible evidence of a soul that has learned to rest in God's hands. Stress etches lines into the face, but a peaceful spirit creates an unmistakable radiant glow. And that glow, chosen one, is not something you can buy in a bottle or achieve through surgery. It is the supernatural preservation of a life surrendered to divine peace. Chosen one. The second reason you radiate youthfulness even after 40 is because your life is purpose-driven. And I want you to hear me on this. Purpose is not just a nice idea or a motivational concept. Purpose is spiritual fuel. It is the divine assignment that keeps your spirit awake, your mind sharp, and your body energized long after others have burned out. While many people drift through life without direction, moving wherever circumstances push them, you are different. You walk with intention. You are guided by a sense of calling so deeply rooted in your spirit that it shapes every decision you make. And that calling, whether it is serving others, creating beauty, speaking truth, or building something that will outlast you, becomes a powerful source of vitality that the world cannot explain. Let me tell you something I have witnessed time and time again. When a person wakes up each morning knowing their life has meaning, everything changes. Their mind stays engaged because they have something to work toward. Their spirit stays motivated because they know they are contributing to something far bigger than themselves. This is not just positive thinking. This is divine activation. I have walked with people who were told they were too old, too tired, too broken to make a difference. And I watched them come alive the moment they discovered their purpose. I have seen 50-year-old women launch ministries that change nations. I have seen men in their 60s start businesses that provide for generations. I have seen chosen ones who looked worn down by life suddenly glow with a new fire the moment they stepped into their divine assignment. Science even confirms what we know in the spirit. Studies show that people with a strong sense of purpose live longer, healthier lives. That is because purpose triggers a positive mental state that reduces harmful stress hormones while flooding your system with feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. These are not just mood boosters. They promote cellular repair. They help your body maintain its youthful resilience from the inside out. Purpose-driven individuals do not waste energy on meaningless drama or destructive habits. They conserve their emotional and physical resources because they know their assignment is too important to be derailed by petty distractions. And over time, this focus and discipline translate into something visible: skin that glows, posture that remains upright, eyes that shine with clarity and conviction. Chosen one, you do not just exist. You live deliberately. And that decision to walk with intention keeps your entire being youthful. No matter how many birthdays pass. The world sees people who look young for their age and assumes it is genetics or good skin care. But you and I know the truth. It is the anointing. It is the fire of purpose burning inside you that refuses to let your light fade. There is something I need you to understand today. Your assignment is not finished. Heaven is not done with you. The enemy wants you to believe that your best years are behind you, that you have missed your moment, that it is too late to start fresh. But that is a lie straight from the pit of hell. Right now, at this very moment, God is renewing your strength. He's restoring your vision. He's reigniting the fire that may have dimmed during the battles you have fought. And as you step back into alignment with your divine purpose, you will feel the shift, not just in your spirit, but in your body. Because when heaven activates you, everything responds. Chosen one, the third reason you carry this ageless radiance is because you radiate energy from the inside out. And I need you to grasp this truth with everything in you. True youthfulness has nothing to do with flawless skin or a wrinkle-free face. At its core, it is an energy. It is a vibrational frequency that radiates from within. And you, anointed one, understand this intuitively because the Spirit has taught you what the world refuses to learn. You know that what you feed your soul will eventually show up in your body. So, you are careful, incredibly careful about the kind of energy you allow into your life. You avoid the slow poison of constant negativity, whether it comes through toxic conversations, draining relationships, or endless streams of dark, destructive entertainment. You have learned to guard your gates. Let me be very real with you. There was a time when I did not understand this. I allowed anyone and anything into my space. I listened to every complaint. I absorbed every negative word. I watched every disturbing thing the world threw at me. And slowly, without even realizing it, I started to feel heavy, tired, aged. Not just physically, but spiritually. My light was dimming because I was feeding my soul poison and expecting it to produce life. But then the Lord showed me something that changed everything. He said, "You cannot carry my glory and the world's garbage at the same time. Choose." And chosen one, that is the choice before you every single day. What energy are you allowing in? What voices are you giving access to your spirit? What images are you feeding your mind? You limit gossip because you know words carry weight. You avoid environments that feel spiritually heavy because you can sense when a place is draining your anointing. Instead, you fill your days with life-giving activities. Long walks in nature where you can hear God's voice. Creative expression that releases what heaven has placed inside you. Acts of service that remind you why you are still here. Deep prayer that resets your entire being. Meditative stillness that allows the Holy Spirit to speak. This lifestyle creates something supernatural around you. It is almost like a protective shield, a high vibrational field that others can feel the moment they step into your presence. People may not be able to explain it, but they are drawn to the warmth and calm that radiates from you. They feel safe around you, lighter, hopeful because you carry a frequency that the world is starving for. Over time, this inner light becomes a kind of natural beauty that no makeup or cosmetic procedure can replicate. Your glow is not superficial. It is the physical manifestation of emotional peace, spiritual alignment, and mental clarity. Even on days when life challenges you, when storms rage and battles intensify, you find ways to return to your center. You know how to reset. You know how to come back to peace. This consistent practice of nurturing your inner energy does not just boost your mood, it strengthens your immune system. It slows the physical signs of aging. It keeps your cells vibrating at a frequency of life instead of decay. And in the end, your youthful appearance is simply a reflection of the vibrant energy you have been cultivating from the inside out all along. Chosen one. The world is going to keep chasing external solutions. They will spend fortunes on creams and surgeries and treatments that promise youth, but you have discovered the secret they will never find in a store. True radiance comes from within. And when your spirit is alive, when your soul is at peace, when your mind is aligned with heaven, your body has no choice but to reflect that glory. Chosen one. The fourth reason you look younger than your years is because you know the power of forgiveness. And I'm not talking about shallow forgiveness. I'm talking about the kind of forgiveness that sets captives free, the kind that breaks chains, the kind that releases you from prisons you did not even know you were living in. Unforgiveness is a heavy burden to carry. It stiffens the posture. It tightens the face. It dims the eyes. I have seen people who hold on to bitterness, and over time it changes them physically as much as it does emotionally. Their jaw becomes tight. Their shoulders hunch forward. The light in their eyes fades, and they wonder why they look so much older than they should. But you, anointed one, you understand something that many will never grasp. Holding on to anger or resentment does not harm your enemies. It harms you. It eats away at you from the inside. It ages you prematurely. It steals your peace, your joy, your vitality, and forgiveness. True forgiveness is not about excusing bad behavior or pretending that wrongs never happened. It is about releasing yourself from the invisible chains that keep you tethered to pain. I want to share something personal with you. There was someone in my life who hurt me deeply, betrayed me in ways I never thought possible. And for years I carried that wound. Every time I thought about them, my chest would tighten, my blood pressure would rise, my peace would shatter. I told myself I had forgiven them, but my body was telling a different story. One night in prayer, the Spirit spoke to me so clearly. He said, "Every time you replay that wound, you give them power over your present. Every time you rehearse that betrayal, you sacrifice your future on the altar of your past. Let it go, not for them, for you." And in that moment, I made a choice. I forgave, not because they deserved it, but because I deserved to be free, chosen one. This is what you have learned. You do not forget what happened, but you refuse to relive the wound every day. You have discovered that when you free someone else in your heart, you also free yourself. And this emotional release has profound physical effects. Stress levels drop. Blood pressure stabilizes. Even facial muscles relax, softening your features. The sparkle returns to your eyes because your soul is no longer weighed down by unspoken grudges. Science has shown that chronic anger and resentment flood the body with stress hormones like cortisol, which accelerate aging by breaking down healthy tissues, but you have chosen a different path. You protect your vitality by practicing forgiveness as a regular habit. Notarareact. Sometimes you forgive silently without ever telling the other person, simply because you refuse to let the past define your future. This choice keeps your spirit light and your energy open, allowing joy to flow more freely. Over time, your face tells a different story. Not one of pain and regret, but one of grace, resilience, and peace. And peace, as it turns out, is one of the most effective beauty treatments of all. There is a freedom that comes when you release people who have hurt you. A lightness, a brightness. It is like a weight being lifted off your shoulders that you did not even realize you were carrying, and suddenly you can breathe deeper. You can smile easier. You can move through life without that constant tension gripping your body. If still holding in a prison of unforgiveness, I speak freedom over you right now. Release them. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free. Chosen one. The fifth reason you radiate youthfulness is because you avoid the trap of overindulgence. And I want you to understand something critical right now. Many people age faster than they should, not because of genetics, but because of the daily choices they make, what they eat, what they drink, what they watch, what they allow to occupy their minds. Overindulgence in processed foods, sugar, alcohol, or toxic entertainment takes a devastating toll on both the body and the mind. But you, anointed one, you are naturally more disciplined, not because you are trying to impress anyone, not because you are chasing some worldly standard of perfection, but because you understand that self-control is a form of self-respect. It is honoring the temple that God has given you. This does not mean you never enjoy life's pleasures. It means you know when to stop. You make mindful decisions about what you consume, both physically and mentally. You ask yourself a question that most people never consider. Will this help me or harm me in the future? That simple question, asked consistently over time, creates a lifestyle of balance that becomes visible in your posture, your skin, and the way you move through the world with quiet confidence. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. There was a season in my life when I was not guarding what I consumed. I was eating whatever was convenient, drinking whatever numbed the pain, watching whatever distracted me from my problems. And I justified it by saying I deserved it after everything I had been through. But the truth is, I was slowly poisoning myself. And it showed, not just in the mirror, but in how I felt. Tired, sluggish, aged beyond my years. But when the Spirit convicted me, when He reminded me that my body is a temple, and that I am called to steward it well, everything changed. I started choosing fresh, whole ingredients over heavily processed options, not out of vanity, but because I recognized that food is fuel. The cleaner the fuel, the better the body performs, and the slower it ages. And it was not just about food. Chosen one. I also had to guard what I was feeding my mind. I stopped consuming a steady diet of negativity, fear-based media, and gossip. I stopped allowing toxic voices to rent space in my head. This mental discipline kept my thoughts clear and my mood steady over time. And these habits, practiced consistently, protected my skin, maintained my energy, and kept my body functioning at a level that defied my age. In contrast, I have watched people who overindulge regularly. They experience inflammation, weight gain, chronic fatigue, and all of these contribute to an older appearance. Many people slowly lose the radiance they once carried. The light in their eyes begins to fade. Their bodies grow weary. Their minds become weighed down, and they find themselves wondering why they feel far older than the years they have lived. But chosen one, your path is different. You have learned to see beyond the present moment. You refuse to sacrifice lasting strength for temporary satisfaction. You understand that every decision you make is shaping the person you are becoming. Each choice either strengthens your future or weakens it. Because of that understanding, you choose with wisdom. You choose what brings life, instead of what merely offers momentary comfort. That perspective creates a life built on healthy balance. Over time, that balance becomes visible for everyone to see. It is reflected in the way you walk, the peace you carry, the health of your body, the brightness of your appearance, and the clarity of your thoughts. People often assume your vitality comes from fortunate genetics or costly treatments, but they cannot see what is truly sustaining you. You know the real source. It is faithful discipline. It is God-given wisdom. It is the anointing that has taught you to honor your body as a sacred gift entrusted to your care. Chosen one. Another reason you continue to carry this remarkable vitality is because you consistently make room for spiritual renewal. There is a truth the world rarely understands. Many people believe caring for themselves begins and ends with outward appearance. They devote themselves to exercise, nutrition, beauty routines, and physical wellness. While those things have value, you have discovered that genuine restoration begins much deeper than the surface. It begins within the spirit. You intentionally invest time in the practices that refresh your soul: prayer, quiet meditation, seasons of fasting, grateful living, and moments of stillness before God are not empty traditions to you. They are life-giving disciplines that cleanse your heart, renew your mind, and strengthen your emotions. They become the hidden source of your endurance, while so many others are exhausted by the pressures of life. Whenever you enter God's presence through sincere prayer or quiet communion with Him, something beyond human understanding begins to take place. Your spirit is refreshed, your inner strength is restored, and heaven breathes new life into every part of your being. That continual renewal is what enables you to remain vibrant, steadfast, and full of life. Even while others around you struggle beneath the weight of the world, your nervous system resets. Your stress levels drop. Your breathing slows. Your heart rate steadies. This is not just spiritual theory. This is physiological reality. This shift boosts your immunity, improves your brain function, and allows your body's natural repair systems to work more effectively. I remember seasons when I was so busy, so consumed with doing that, I neglected this practice. I stopped praying as deeply. I stopped sitting in stillness. I stopped fasting and seeking God's face with desperation. And slowly, I began to feel the effect, not just spiritually, but physically. I was more anxious, more reactive, more tired. My face showed it. My energy reflected it. But the moment I returned to spiritual renewal, everything shifted. My skin looked healthier because stress-induced inflammation was reduced. My eyes were brighter because I carried hope and clarity in my vision. I moved through life with a grounded presence that made me seem ageless. And it was not because I added some new supplement or beauty treatment. It was because I drew from an inner well that never runs dry. Spiritual renewal also changes your outlook on life. Chosen one. Instead of reacting impulsively to challenges, you respond with calm wisdom. This preserves your energy and emotional balance. You do not get caught in cycles of constant worry or unnecessary conflict because you have learned how to anchor yourself in peace. You know how to go to the secret place and let God reset your entire being. Over the years, this consistent spiritual practice becomes a fountain of youth. While others rely solely on external fixes to feel younger, you draw from an inner source that heaven continuously refills. Every single day you take the time to refill it. And that discipline, that commitment to spiritual renewal, shows up in ways the world cannot explain. People look at you and wonder why you seem so at peace, why you carry such light, why you do not look as worn down as they feel. And the answer is simple. You have prioritized your spirit. You have made time for God. You have refused to let the noise of this world drown out the voice of heaven. And in return, heaven has preserved you, renewed you, kept you youthful in body, mind, and spirit. Chosen one. The seventh reason you radiate youthfulness is because you maintain a curious and playful mind. And I want you to hear this clearly. 1. The most overlooked secrets to youth is not found in a bottle or a beauty cream. It is in the mind. It is in the spirit of wonder that refuses to die even when life tries to kill it. You know the value of keeping your curiosity alive. You do not let the heaviness of adulthood rob you of your sense of wonder. While others become rigid, cynical, and set in their ways, you keep asking questions. You keep exploring new ideas. You keep learning new skills. You keep finding joy in small discoveries. And this curiosity keeps your brain active, your imagination vivid, and your emotional state light. Playfulness is also part of your secret. You laugh often. You find humor in everyday moments. You do not take yourself too seriously. And this mindset protects you from the cynicism and rigidity that often make people seem older than I have watched. People become so serious, so burdened by life that they forget how to smile. They forget how to play. They forget how to wonder. And it ages them rapidly. But not you. Chosen one. You have held on to something precious. You have held on to your childlike faith, your childlike joy, your childlike ability to see beauty in the ordinary. And this is not immaturity. This is wisdom, because Jesus himself said, "Unless we become like little children, we cannot enter the kingdom." Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. He was not just talking about salvation. He was talking about a way of living that keeps your heart young and your spirit free. Science confirms what you live out every day. People who maintain a playful, curious attitude experience slower cognitive decline and often report higher life satisfaction. This positive mental state lowers stress hormones, increases creativity, and promotes emotional resilience, all of which contribute to a more youthful appearance. Your mind is not stagnant. It is alive. It is growing. It is expanding. And that mental vitality shows up in your face, in your eyes, in your entire presence. Over time, this attitude shows in your body language and facial expressions. You smile more. Your eyes sparkle with interest. You carry yourself with a lightness that draws others in. Even in the face of challenges, you find ways to inject joy into life, whether through hobbies, adventures, or simple acts of kindness. You stay engaged. You stay alive. You stay young. I have seen people in their 70s with more joy and curiosity than people in their 20s. And the difference is not physical. It is spiritual. It is a decision to keep your heart soft, to keep your mind open, to keep your spirit playful. No matter what life throws at you, chosen one. The world will try to make you hard. It will try to make you bitter. It will try to convince you that growing older means becoming serious, joyless, and stuck. But you refuse that lie. You know that true youthfulness is as much about mindset as it is about physical age. You know that the moment you stop learning, stop laughing, stop wondering, you start dying. So you choose life. You choose curiosity. You choose playfulness. And that choice keeps your mind sharp and your heart young. It keeps the fire burning. It keeps the light shining. And it proves to everyone watching that age is just a number. But your spirit is eternal. I chosen one. The 8th and 9th reasons you look younger are deeply interconnected. You are surrounded by positive energy, and you carry a divine protection over your life. And these two truths work together to preserve you in ways that cannot be explained by science alone. You understand something that many people overlook. The company you keep either builds you up or slowly tears you down. Energy is contagious, whether it is positive or negative, and it has a measurable impact on your body and mind. Because of this, you are intentional about your relationships. You do not keep toxic people close out of obligation or fear of being alone. You gravitate toward those who inspire, uplift, and challenge you in healthy ways. This is not about surrounding yourself only with people who agree with you. It is about choosing connections that nourish your spirit instead of depleting it. And over the years, these choices shape not only your emotional health, but also your physical appearance. Wrinkles are softened by genuine smiles. Eyes are brightened by laughter. Your overall presence radiates warmth because you have chosen to dwell in the light. But there is something even deeper at work here. Chosen one. Perhaps the most mysterious reason you retain your youthfulness is that you walk under a covering that cannot be explained purely by science. There is a supernatural preservation at work in your life, a divine shield that protects you from certain physical, mental, and spiritual harms. This does not mean you never face difficulties. In fact, many chosen ones have endured trials that should have left them permanently scarred or broken. Yet, somehow you emerge from storms, not just intact, but often more radiant than before. People look at you and wonder how you have gone through so much and still glow with peace. They do not understand that this is the work of divine favor, God watching over you, restoring what life tries to steal, while others may be worn down by stress, grief, and hardship. You have an uncanny ability to bounce back faster. The strength you carry goes far beyond natural determination. It is evidence of God's sustaining power at work within you, physically. That grace often appears as resilience, steady health, rapid recovery, or protection from struggles that seem to affect so many others. Emotionally, it is revealed through a hope that refuses to disappear. Even in life's darkest valleys, spiritually, it becomes visible through the light you continue to carry regardless of the battles surrounding you. No matter how intense the opposition becomes, the presence of God upon your life remains untouched. His covering does more than preserve your body, it protects your joy. And that enduring joy becomes one of the greatest sources of lasting strength and renewal. Chosen one. The vitality people notice in you is not merely an outward appearance. It is the visible reflection of God's unseen hand, faithfully watching over your life. If you have ever wondered why some people seem to grow stronger with time while others are quickly worn down, remember this truth. Lasting vitality is not measured by appearances alone. It is the fruit of living in harmony with God's purpose, making wise daily choices, and walking beneath His continual favor. Together, these gifts preserve everything heaven has entrusted you to carry. Chosen one. This message has reached you at exactly the right moment. The stirring within your spirit is heaven's confirmation that you are standing where God intended you to be. What was once concealed is now being uncovered. What was taken from you is being restored according to God's promise. What others believed had been buried is rising again with greater strength and greater purpose. You are living in your appointed season. The breakthrough you have prayed for is no longer distant. It has already begun to unfold. The blessings you have trusted God to release are now moving toward you. Do not ignore the witness you feel within your heart. That quiet assurance is the Holy Spirit reminding you that you have been chosen for this moment. Continue walking in faith. Remain aligned with God's direction. The greatest chapters of your journey are still ahead. If this message has spoken to your spirit, leave 111 inches the comments as your declaration that you receive this promise by faith. and subscribe to continue growing alongside a community that is pursuing God's purpose together. Never forget this truth. You are deeply loved. You are fully known. And above all, you are chosen.